Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fiberista Files. Today is Tuesday, April 19th, 2016. I'm your host Heather, also known as Boutros Babe on Ravelry and Fiberista Files on Twitter and Instagram. I also do have a new Highland Handmades account on Instagram, which is just for essentially shop updates. It won't be very spammy, but it's sort of business centric. You can find the shop at shop.highlandhandmades.com. This video podcast is posted on my podcast blog, which is www.thefiberistafiles.com, as well as iTunes, Internet Archive, and YouTube. Highlandhandmades.com is the sort of landing pad for the site. There's information on my club, on events. There's a blog. All of that's accessible from there. So that's where all you can find me. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. This episode is going to actually be pretty heavy on knitting content for once, and not a whole lot else. So let's get started, shall we? I will say that the weather here, for those of you who enjoy the Maine updates, has been really nice. I got up to 69 on Sunday, which is the first time it's been in the 60s since the fluke warm fall we had. So right at the beginning of December, I think last year, we had a 60-degree day. So it's been more than 4 months. That was really nice. I had a chance to go outside with my wheel and just spin in the sun for a little while. That was really lovely. That has not happened in a long time. It's been consistently sort of high 40s, low 50s, but that's not quite warm enough to enjoy your time outside, although it is warm enough to go out for a walk or whatever. Running is unfortunately on a hiatus because I've given myself shin splints. I do it every spring. It's not a big deal. Take 2 weeks off. I've been walking, specifically walking the dog, but that's all I can do for 2 weeks. So I have to wait until at least this weekend before I can run anymore. Boo. But it is what it is. As far as weekend review, there's not a lot. I did podcast not long ago. That episode was kind of more about what was going on in our world than the knitting, but that's not going to happen this time. My father and grandmother are both doing well. The result of my dad's trip to the ER is that he's on antacids. That's it. That's it. They're just like, just take an antacid, you'll probably be fine. That's really all I know. Things are going well. I do have the date for my surgery. Will be June 17th. They were going to schedule it the Friday before, like a week before Fiber Frolic, which is the show that I do here in Maine, the first weekend of June. They were running to schedule it for May 27th. And I was like, can we try that one again? Because I can't do that. So June 17th. So I will have most of the summer to just relax. I wish I had a hammock. I feel like recovery would be better if I had a hammock to lay outside in the sun. I don't know if that's accurate or not. The bugs are probably eating me alive. But in my head, it sounds really nice to have a hammock to lay in while I recover from surgery. But we'll see what happens. That's really about it. I will say that there is no book review today. I have been editing books for friends. I've just finished editing 2 different books for Penny Reed, and one has come out, Player and the Pixie, which is a collaboration she did with LH Causeway. And the next one, Grin and Beard It, is one of the Winston Brothers series that's coming out in a few weeks. Both are fabulous, and you should read them. They're available everywhere ebooks are sold, and you can buy physical copies too. So, all right. Let's get into the knitting, shall we? Because I have quite a bit of knitting and some crochet. I know, right? A little bit of spinning, which I'll show you the fiber. I don't want to show you what's on the wheel because that's kind of awkward. And then some dye pots and news and all that good stuff. So let's get started. So the first thing, let's talk about the crochet first, because I actually finished this a little over a week ago. I finished it on the 10th. I made a Cuddly Cthulhu out of crochet. The yarn is Peace Fleece, which is a wool mohair blend that is made here in Maine, in conjunction with some, I think the mohair content comes from Russia. This was started years ago in an effort to improve American-Russian relations. And so they've got this transcontinental yarn that's really lovely. It's a classic worsted wool yarn with some tweedy bits in it. This is in the colorway Shaba Green. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So this is Cthulhu, and he's got these cute little tentacles. And his body's a little long, but I just followed the directions as best I could. And he's got his little feet and his little arms and these wings, which they're a little floppy, honestly. I wish they were a little bit more stiff, but what can you do? That's probably the mohair content. I think he's pretty adorable. And I just gave him some 15mm eyes that I got from 60 and 60 on Etsy. He's going to my brother. My brother is a huge Cthulhu fan, or Cthulhu fan. Whether you pronounce the TH or you just pronounce the T, I'm not an expert on H.P. Lovecraft. Caveat. So that's going to be mailed to him. He's the one I made those Cthulhu mittens for years and years ago that I did to the right-handed mitt, and I realized it on air. That was a fabulous episode. He's a big fan, so he's getting that. I find myself wanting to crochet amigurumi when I've got cast-on-itis, but I can't talk myself into starting a new knitting project. Because as we all know, Operation Bind Off, hashtag Operation Bind Off, I should be finishing things, but I don't finish anything. So that only took me just a few days. Like, it really doesn't take very long at all to crochet. I know people say that and you're like, duh. But to me, it's still quite new and fantastic. My friend Deb, Happy Debris UK, and Happy Debs, I think is her Instagram handle, has been crocheting these African flower creatures. So it's an African flower crochet motif, and they get pieced together. She just did a bulldog. I think she did a hippo and a stegosaurus. They're adorable, and I need to buy these patterns and learn how to do them because I really, really want. I think they're too cute for words. I need to do some. So we'll see. And then you've seen this before. My friend Monica and I have been trying to figure out this pattern. Okay. So I knit this gradient shawl as part of the Penny redesign project, only I didn't write anything down because I'm an idiot and thought that it would just be fine. No, not fine. So we're going back through and trying to actually get the numbers and stitch counts and all of those things, and it's just a mess. So this is the shawl. It gets darker as you go. The last section will be an even darker gray. So I'm on section, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. And section 3, the middle section, was just super screwed up. So Monica and I have gone back and forth several times over it. God bless her. She's got the patience of a saint, and she's good at math. So, which I'm not, so that's wonderful. I think section 5 is right. I will find out in a few days once Monica's had a chance to work it. It may not be. And then all that's left is one more transition section and the edging, which the edging should be fine. I say should be. I apparently am not a fan of designing lace. And it's not that the lace motifs in that shawl are hard, because they're only 2 to 4 stitches each. Like, they're very short repeats. But for some reason, having the increases going on at the sides, and some of those motifs are front and back, and some are just purl back, and I keep screwing up. This is riding around in my Girl Cave bags. Star Wars bag. And I'm knitting that on US 4s or 5s. Then I cast on 2 new things. This first one is super simple. It's not going to look like a whole lot yet, but this is going to be a stuffed heart pillowcase. It is a design for the Penny Reed project. It is being knit, the sample is knit out of just some cheap Barocco vintage chunky in color 6134, which is like a true red. It's not quite as bright as you're seeing. It's a little bit more burgundy than you're seeing. But that's going to be a heart pillow, and I have 2 skeins, so it's going to be a nice big pillow. I still may not use a whole lot of the second skein, but it's going to be quite large, and it's a throw pillow. So that's that, and that is because it's knit on, was it US 10s or 10.5s? 10s. I find it actually hurts my wrists after a little while because I haven't knit on 10s in a really long time. So I can only do that for a little while. And then finally, I cast on a pair of socks. I haven't had any socks on the needles for a while, and I missed it. So I cast on, this is a simple 3x1 rib sock. You'll notice it's quite large. It's in a men's size. And this is knit out of my sugar maple sock in the Eyes Always Watching colorway, which is a Lord of the Rings reference. And knit on US 2s, which is my usual Chai-Gu bent ends. These are discontinued. You can't get these anymore. If you can ever find any, grab them because they're the best needle in the world. These socks are actually going to be for my surgeon. I'm a knitter, and I have very few effective ways of expressing my gratitude other than by knitting somebody an item. This man is definitely knitworthy. He is a wonderful, wonderful human being, and I am eternally grateful to him for listening to me. So he is getting socks. I have until June 17th to get those socks done, and those are basically card knitting. At late at night when I'm tired knitting, just plugging away at it. I did ask him his shoe size, so I know what size to make those. Oh, I should say, sorry, I'm a bad podcaster. This bag is a Bling Your String bag. This was from the 2014 Highlands on the Fly. Erin made me this cute little zipper pull / progress keeper. It's a little deer. You can see it's all woodsy fabric. So that's Bling Your String. And then this bag was made by my husband for Highlands on the Fly 2015. I'm using it because the colors match the Eye Is Always Watching. And that's a simple, drawstring tote. I've got all the bags from everywhere today. So that's what I've been knitting on. I don't know if any of those will get done anytime soon. Nothing else gets done. So I don't know why those would, but maybe you'll see them again in another podcast, and that'll be progress. So spinning in my Jessalou bucket bag, I have, and I'm not going to take it out, I have some camel silk, which is natural undyed. It's a very pale fawn color, very slippery. It's from my Luxury Fiber Adventurers Club a couple years ago, and I'm spinning that on my Acreworks bobbin right now. Very fine. I'm really having an inchworm because the camel is such a short fiber that I'm inchworming in a short forward draw, and I've got my tension way, way down. My pull in is way, way down, like trying to just keep it from pulling out of my hands onto the wheel. So that will be a long spin because it's 4.8 ounces. I may stop at 2.4 just because I get really tired of spinning the same thing. Maybe I won't, but it's fun. It's a good palette cleanser. I did that Superwash Targhee in the Piss Off Hummingbird colorway last time, which was a highly variegated dyed braided fiber. So I like to sort of cleanse the palette with something new and different every time. And this year, I'm big into the natural wools this year. For some reason, I'm really enjoying the natural fibers. So maybe that's not something I should say as an indie dyer, but it's a true story. Okay, so growth. Negative growth? Ingrowth? Oh, no, I don't want to be ingrown. I got my rejection letter from Rhinebeck, which I fully expected to receive. It was at least nice that they sent me a letter to acknowledge to me that they had received my application and thanks, but no thanks. I was not surprised by that. I'm always a little bummed, but it is what it is. I will keep applying, just like I will with Maryland Sheep and Wool. I will keep applying until I get in. I do plan on going to Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. I'm sad my friend Wendy Frew won't be able to go. Silly Frew. The rest of you, oh my God, it's dusty. Wendy, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Don't look. Don't look, Frew. So this day's right by my computer. It's my friend Wendy and me at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And we had a blast last time. She won't be there this year, but that's okay. I understand completely. My friend Monica and her husband Joe will be going, as well as Paul will be going. So it will be nice. The four of us are going to go, and we'll stay at Turf Valley, where we've stayed before. I like Turf Valley. It's a beautiful golf course. Hotel. The rooms are not fancy, but they're adequate and clean. And there's a shuttle that takes us right to the gate and then picks us up later in the afternoon. So I do not have to drive and find a parking spot. I don't have to do any of that. I just have to show up in the morning, get in my seat, and they whisk us off to the front. Like, it's just really nice. In addition, that means I'm very close. I'm only a couple weeks away from petting all of the sheep. I cannot wait to pet all of the sheep. See, here's the deal. Fiber Frolic here in June, there are sheep breeds, and you can learn about the sheep breeds or whatever, but there's signs everywhere that say, do not touch the sheep. Understood. You don't want some kid to get some, whatever, hoof and mouth or whatever it is. You get it. But at Maryland, they not only let you, they encourage you. And some of those sheep even demand it. You're totally free to pet any sheep you want. It's the best thing ever. Like, I kissed noses. I scratched cheeks. I was in the livestock barns for well over 2 hours on Saturday. Like, just every single sheep. I can't even help myself. What can you do? I'm not even sorry. Like, if they're going to let me love them, I'm going to love them. That's just how it is. So, I'm excited about that. I have been working on, I should get into processes, I guess. I've been working on self-striping. There's a self-striping update in the shop right now. That's the Princess Bride stripey yarns, which they're all explained in the listings, but there's a Princess, what's her name? Buttercup, Wesley yarn, although the Wesley yarn may have sold out. An Indigo Fezzik and Vinzini yarn. There's a Max and Valerie yarn. There's a Villainous colorway, which is Count Rugen and the Evil Prince Humperdinck. And then there's a sixth one. Oh, is this a Kissing Book, which is actually Fred Savage, the little boy who the story is read to whom the story is read, and who interrupts periodically throughout. The colors are orange and navy blue, like the Chicago Bears jersey he's wearing, and then a flesh tone and a black, like his skin and hair. Those are a lot of fun. They're not selling super quick, so this may be the last time I do the Princess Bride colorway set. My next set is going to be the Geek set that I've done once, if and only if I can find my die notes, because I don't know where they are right now. But the Geek set has Ninja Turtles, Cornetto Trilogy, Harry Potter, Supernatural, and 2 more who escape me at the moment. Oh, there's an Avengers one, that's 5. The other one will come to me. But those 6 will be available hopefully by this weekend. I have a lot of scanning to do if that's the case. Self-striping is very labor intensive, and I think I've mentioned before my house is very uneven because my foundation is sort of crumbling. So standing on uneven ground for a number of hours actually is really painful, and all of my counters are 2 inches below standard because the woman that the counters were built for was very, very small. I'm not. So it's just, I have to bribe myself to do it, basically. After the Geek set, I plan on doing a monochromatic set with random stripes, which is essentially rainbows. There'll be a warm set, which will be red, orange, yellow, those sorts, and a cool set, which will be green, blue, purple. Maybe a white to black chromatic, and the randomness will be like, I literally roll a die every time for every stripe, and the corresponding yarn will be, the stripe will be as long as that die says. So if I roll a 1, then the next stripe will be 1 yard long. If I roll a 6, then the next stripe will be 6 yards long. And it's completely random. If you look in the Highland Handmades yarn page on Ravelry and you go into the striped maple sock yarn, you can see a few of those and see what they look like. It's very addictive knitting because you never know how long the next stripe is going to be, especially if you pull from the center of the ball, because you can't really see what's in the middle. So as you're pulling the yarn out, you're like, how long is this stripe going to be? They're super quick to knit, and I really enjoy them. And like I said, with bribing myself, that's a little bit fun. So we'll see. So that's the next 2 stripey updates. I don't know exactly when those will happen, but if you follow my Instagram account, Fiberista Files, you will get updated before that goes live. So that's that. I do not have a grabby hands for you this week. I have some mail coming to me from Owl on Dante's, which is a stitch marker, progress keeper, all around cool things shop on Etsy, and it's out of, sorry, I just noticed my hair is like, got a mind of its own today. The shop's run by my friend Leanne, and Leanne lives in New Brunswick, just over the border. I met her at my first Knit East, which was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And then I saw her again this past Knit East, and she brought her son Monster Max, and he was adorable. We were friends. We're like this. And yeah, so, but her stuff is wonderful. In fact, she's got a new zombies stitch marker coming up that, even though I just made an order, I'm already like, ooh, I really, really want that. You know me and zombies. I can't help myself. I just love them. So that will be a grabby hands in my next podcast. I am trying to do better about podcasting. I hope you understand. These episodes will be much shorter the more that I podcast because my progress is so slow. If you are interested in seeing the stripy yarns, go ahead and check out shop.highlandhandmades.com. They're all right there in the top. I do have some Top Whirl drop spindles in there right now, some superwash targi, and a bunch of other stuff. So check out the shop, will you? I'm going to go for now. I have to process and edit this and start scanning stripies. So I will say thank you very much for tuning in. Wait, hold on. That's not how I say it. Until next time, guys, happy spinning and knitting, and thanks for tuning in.